It is that time of the day again, ladies and gentlemen, to go over all of your Tesla stock breaking news today. What news just came out that caused Tesla stock to reverse the over 1% gain we had today? Well, it was actually two senators that say Tesla's autopilot should only be driven on certain roads. This follows a probe from the NHTSA. It was announced today that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said Friday it was opening an investigation into whether Tesla's recall of over 2 million vehicles to install new autopilot safeguards has been adequate, according to media reports. And here is the article from Reuters, of course, that dropped about 18 minutes ago. It says two senators want the U.S. to order Tesla to restrict autopilot use. You almost just have to question how many brain cells some of these senators have. Here's who's saying what. Democratic Senators Ed Markey and Richard Blumenthal said the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration should, quote, require Tesla to restrict its autopilot feature to the roads it was designed for. We urge the agency to take all necessary actions to prevent these vehicles from endangering lives. Endangering lives? Last I checked, autopilot and or FSD was safer than the average driver. Hell, we give 14 and 15-year-olds the ability to drive on roads, but yet autopilot endangers lives. And I know the software is not perfect and there are sketchy moments in time, and that's why it's important that you pay attention when you're driving, hurtling across the planet, anywhere from 30 to 75, 80 miles per hour. Don't fall asleep. It's not there yet. But to make it a point to say Tesla's endangering lives, I think that's a bit of an overkill. And I will also point out this was an over-the-air update for autopilot that affected 2 million vehicles. At this point, I feel like Tesla should just be quiet about the updates they're making to autopilot. I know they want to be transparent and probably legally have to be, but geez, every step of the way is being ridiculed by, I'm sure if you look into Ed Markey and Richard Blumenthal, they're probably lobbied by other legacy OEMs. That would just be my guess, and that is what is causing Tesla stock to fall at the time of recording this video. Well, kind of looks like a slide, right? Like you get on your sled when you're a kid. Hell, I love to sled now, but it does kind of hurt a little more now when you fall off of it. That's kind of what it looks like for Tesla. It's just a slow and steady bleed down ever since this news came out. Now, let's be honest, that's not going to happen. These senators, they're reaching, okay? The National Highway Traffic Safety Association, whatever that ridiculous long abbreviation is, they're not going to restrict the use of autopilot. That sounds like a fat lawsuit waiting to happen. But momentarily for Tesla stock, can it cause some fear? Of course. And that is what you are seeing today. And that's why Tesla stock is falling absent the markets falling. Like Tesla's doing this independently. The NASDAQ is not falling like that. A little bit here, but not really. Hertz announced today it is increasing the number of EVs it will let go of by 10,000 units, now planning to sell 30,000 of its purchased electric cars this year. And Tesla has launched the new Quicksilver Model Y color in the US for $2,000 extra. It's only available for inventory long-range and performance Model Ys at the moment. We have a Cybertruck that is being spotted in Sydney, Australia. And Drew Baglino sold $181 million of Tesla stock today. Some of the proceeds will go to pay taxes. Drew exercised these stock options today. Typically, there is a 90-day post-termination or leaving exercise window period where you have to exercise or pay for your vested incentive stock options or else you lose them. Polmar's catalog writes on X, FSD 12.3.5 can never just change lanes. It has to start changing lanes, then come back to the original lane, then change lanes slowly. It's super annoying. And Elon Musk says fixed in 12.4. The 12.3 number of releases are very minor changes. Tesla's India electric vehicle plans are reportedly still on track despite Elon postponing his meeting with the Indian President Modi. The Tesla Australia and New Zealand X account did post that the Cybertruck will be traveling around Australia, in Sydney, in Chatswood, Parramatta, and Miranda all throughout the month of May. So that makes sense why we just seen the Cybertruck in Sydney, Australia. Now, Sawyer Merritt did go on CNBC to talk about Tesla stock, and I want to share this clip and shout out to you, Sawyer Merritt, for all the good Tesla work that you do.
Couldn't be more clear than that. Joining us now, though, to talk about the car and the company is Tesla watcher Sawyer Merritt. Sawyer, good to have you on. We've talked about many people in the past, not just yourself, but others, about full self-driving and how cool it is. It's not all there 100% yet, but it's getting there. And could Tesla, the company, do a better job, maybe even like TV ads, I know it's old school, of selling the public on exactly what this is, yes or no?
Yeah, I think they could. Tesla owners are currently now driving roughly 15 million miles on average per day using FSD, which is roughly a 250% increase just from 3 months ago. So that's roughly 1 billion miles every 68 days. And it took Tesla around 3.5 years to hit its first billion miles. And on top of that, Tesla's compute capacity is, going to increase, I think, roughly 500% this year. And to me, how can any other automaker catch up to Tesla in terms of data gathering when they have a fleet of millions of vehicles already gathering billions of miles of data?
Well, and Tesla drivers, to your point, they're the proselytizers, right? They're the ones out there preaching to the masses. You got to try, even to other Tesla owners, try the FSD, or to non-Tesla owners. But there's only so much that they can do. I mean, they're going to touch 1 or 2 people at a time.
I think at the end of the day, butts and seats help sell Teslas, and I think the same could be said about FSD. It's something you really need to try in person to really understand the experience. It's one thing to see videos online, but it's a whole nother experience in person. So I think people just got to try it.
I was schlepping up the West Side Highway from the NYC to here today, and the guy next to me, we were in bumper-to-bumper traffic, was on his phone in a Tesla, no hands on the wheel, because the car was driving itself. And I have to say, I got a little jealous because I was both hands on the wheel. By the way, quickly, Beijing Auto Show going on right now. How worried, if at all, are you about all these cheap Chinese companies that may come in here, Sawyer?
Yeah, China is the most competitive EV market right now, but Tesla and BYD are really the only automakers making money on EVs. And, despite all the cheaper EVs launching, I suspect we'll see some consolidation in the market, which would help Tesla. And BYD has also shared that they have no short-term plans to enter the American market. So Tesla really doesn't have to worry about that too much. Tesla's brand is still really strong in China, and I suspect they'll do well in the years to come.
All right, well, we'll see what happens with BYD, to your point. Sawyer Merritt, always love having you on. Great stuff online and everywhere else. Appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.
Tesla has given a demonstration of the capabilities of their full self-driving software to an official from the Swedish Transport Administration in Germany, marking the first time we've seen an official use of FSD on European roads. And I will remind you that Elon Musk said they will be expanding FSD into any market that allows it, so Europe could be coming relatively soon. And down she goes. Tesla stock is now down about 1% following that autopilot news. I will be losing 0.00 seconds of sleep on this latest news. It's literally doesn't mean anything. In fact, you just got a 1%, 2% discount from the highs of the day today on nothing at all. It almost feels like Tesla's the kid that gets bullied in school by everyone else that learns jujitsu and all these other martial arts and ends up beating everyone else up in the end. That certainly feels like a similar comparison if you are a Tesla stock investor today. Tesla's in the gym today, just pumping iron, taking that pre-workout and starting their martial arts classes. It's still going to be some time before Tesla beats everyone up in this analogy, but it's coming. And for everyone that has asked me, did you miss the boat on Tesla stock? And I think the long story short is no. I don't think Tesla stock is going back to the lows that you were at in the, high 130s momentarily, in the 140s anytime soon necessarily, because the whole narrative has changed. But eventually there is going to be a big crash and there will be a chance to buy Tesla in the 140s. Probably lower than that. Wouldn't surprise me. Sub $100 at some point down the line. But over the next couple of months, I do think the bottom is in for Tesla. But we will talk about that more in the next video. We will also discuss some of your major events coming next week that could also impact Tesla for better or for worse. We did get some data today with core PCE month over month that came in line with expectations of 0.3%. Personal income month over month came in line with expectations as well of 0.5%. Personal spending month over month came in at 0.8%. The expectation was 0.6%. So what you've seen today was pretty supportive of our markets. Keep in mind, the only real narrative to be bullish on stocks today is people are spending money. That's going to drive EPS growth in the S&P 500, just to put it as simply as possible. You could add people are employed, right? Inflation has come down, but overall, from where we started 2024, a lot of the bull thesis has kind of went away besides people spending money. And that's what you've seen today is more people spent money or more money than what was expected in the month of March, which makes it a little bit interesting because the GDP numbers we just got yesterday came in about 1% worse than expected. So kind of strange, but nonetheless, you did not see inflation come in higher than expected and you've seen spending up. That's pretty supportive of stocks today. And it looks like someone wants to be in the video. Say hi. Say hi. One of these days, he's going to say his first word, and it's probably going to be Tesla. As many times as he hears Tesla throughout the day, I have him all day, every day. It's probably going to be Tesla. And I hope I get it on recording. He says, Baba, Mama, Dada, but that's about it. Full self-driving Google Trends data is sitting at 45, which is a little bit higher than where you recently bottomed at 37. Again, I just want to see where we trend. If we trend higher than where we did previously, between 10 and 20, that's a pretty good sign. The take rates are higher for Tesla. And if we just skip over here to your other Google Trends data I like to go over every single day, you do have the Cybertruck falling a little bit from 66 to 62. You do have the Model Y and the Model 3 that are really continuing to ramp up. The Model Y going from 32 to 39. The Model 3 going from 25 to 34. Even the Model S and the Model X are ramping up. Also continuing to go higher, the Model S at 13 and the Model X at 10. Here on the day today, option activity from big money. It's pretty low. There's not a lot of activity today. You have seen 117 different trades totaling $22.41 million with a positive order value of 65%. So very low dollar amount today, but a really high positive order value, meaning that just not a lot of activity in Tesla options, but those funds that are making trades in Tesla, they're pretty dang bullish on Tesla today. It does appear as if there is a lot of shorting activity as well today. You have cost to borrow fees at about 9%. The higher the cost to borrow fees, generally the more shorting activity there is. What we can see from the data today is you do have borrowed shares of 1.3 million and return shares of about 935,000. So that means on net, you're looking at about 362,000 shares that were likely sold short today. Now, you have seen about 1 million shares overall get covered in the last couple of days, and that's why I still think there can be a short squeeze. I still think there can be upside here because there's 106.4 million shares that are still sold short, that a good portion of those probably want to cover on their short positions, right? The narrative has changed. People were wrong. The sooner they accept that, the better off that they will be. Now, you do have short interest of free float at 3.84%, $18.11 billion currently in short positions. And as I explained, about 106.4 million shares that are currently sold short. These are multi-year highs. So it's not like we're at a low level here. These are multi-year highs for all of this data. And short sellers have lost almost $3 billion ever since the April 22nd low. 10-year Treasury yields are trading down about 3.5 basis points. Overall, 10-year Treasury yields are now 4.67%. I do think here in the near term, maybe next week, there's a chance 10-year Treasury yields could fall, and that could be supportive to Tesla and really all of your interest rate sensitive stocks, but more on that later. Markets are still only pricing in one rate cut this year, coming September 18th, 2024, and the odds of that are about 39%. There's 18.9% odds of no cuts and 29.9% odds of 2 cuts. Percent of stocks above their 50-day moving average is up about 10% today. Currently, 40.2% of stocks are above their 50-day moving average. Overall, 3.62% of stocks out there on our markets today are breaking above their 50-day moving average. Now, if you look at what we've seen over the past 12 months for this moving average chart, you're still sitting at pretty suppressed levels, meaning the rally that we've seen in 2024 has been very narrow. There hasn't been a lot of stocks participating in the rally, and if we do get further upside in markets, I think you need the participation from the rest of the markets. It can't be just big tech anymore, in my personal opinion. Google and Microsoft both had good earnings. Microsoft is up over 2% and Google is up about 9.5%. Google announcing a surprise dividend definitely does wonders for a company when they report earnings, but their valuations are pretty stretched. Tesla stock is continuing to sell down, now down about 1.3% today. If you do take a look at the charts and some of the technicals for Tesla, you're sitting in a really good place. You've rallied from that 138 low up to the high of about $173 and some change. Now you're down to 168. Big deal. You're above your 20-day moving average, and I think it's probably likely, or at least wouldn't be shocking if you come back down and test your 20-day moving average as support. Now, if you bounce before that, right, your 20-day moving average is at $163.57. If you bounce at like 165, that'll be great. But it wouldn't surprise me to see Tesla stock come down and test that 20-day moving average. That's really what matters here, is whether or not do you break out above your 50-day moving average, which is at $175.52, or do you break under your 20-day moving average. I don't think these two senators urging for restriction of autopilot or FSD is going to cause that. I think investors are mainly going to look past that. But after you've seen, really strong rallies, a 12% rally the day of earnings, a 5% rally yesterday, the day before earnings, Tesla rallied almost 2%, and the day before that, you've seen a big reversal from the lows. You've rallied a lot, long story short, in just a couple of days. After that, you're kind of vulnerable for any bit of news to be really bad or taken as bad news. And I think that's what's going on today. This news is being taken as bad news, really just because you've rallied so much. Now, if you take a look at the RSI is neutral at 51.44, so there's definitely a lot of room to continue to the upside there before you're even close to being overbought. So that's not even a topic of conversation at this point. The MACD is negative 4.82 and the signal line is negative 6.1. 0.1. So definitely some room for improvements there as well. So let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you guys want to come trade with us live in real time. Every time I send out alerts or trades, I do send an alert out in the trading community. Check that link out down below in the description of this video. You guys enjoy your weekends, and I will see you in the next one.